การปฏิบัตินะมันไม่มีใครช่วยใครได้นะ
To practice Dhamma, we cannot help each other. You have to learn the principle of Dhamma, practice, and then take action to start practicing.
เป็นความยุติธรรมที่สุดแล้ว
It is the most just process because we cannot do these things for each other.
ต้องฝึกจิตของเรา
We have to train our mind to become knower, awakened, and joyful one. Once we attain that kind of mind, the knower mind, then we can see all the aggregates as something that the mind knows, not the mind. The body is one thing. The feelings, happiness and unhappiness are other things, and all wholesomeness and unwholesomeness is other things, and the mind is another thing. We try to keep on separating the self into parts. Aggregates means parts. To separate the 5 aggregates is to separate the self into 5 parts, which are the form, which is the body. The physical parts can be further separated into elements: water, fire, earth, and air. If we can separate these and see each element, there is no self in each element, there is no animals, him or her or us. If we separate our body into different parts, the liquid part is like the lava, the blood, the urine. No one sees that our urine is ourselves or the lava is not ourselves. Nobody sees like that. When we separate these things apart, then there is no longer a self. The air element, when we breathe in and breathe out, nobody sees the breath as our self or belong to us. The fire within our body, there's a heat, the temperature. We could sense the temperatures within our body. Nobody sees the temperature or heat as a self or belong to us. Most of us stuck in the earth elements because the earth is very stiff, and we thought that it is us, it belongs to us. For example, when we extract the tooth is strong and stiff. It's the earth element. Once we extracted the tooth, then we wouldn't see that the extracted tooth is us or belong to us. But if the tooth is still in our mouth, it's still in one unity, one thing, we still think that it is us, belong to us. But if we can separate the elements, we could see each element has no self. We train our mind to become strengthened, and then it could separate the elements. Starting off separating elements, we don't have the intention to do so because the wisdom and mindfulness will do such thing on its own. I used to tell a story that I went to Wat Pa Sarawan temple to pay respect to Master Luangpu Pramote, and I saw a road. There's a different dog pool along the path, and I couldn't evade them. There's a fresh one and dry ones. There's one dog pool that is really appalling. It's very dirty. There's different kind of colors, and there's so many flies. When I get closer, the flies go away. My mind has samadhi. my mind had smarting and it tried to separate the elements of that dog poo. It tries to separate the odor of the dog poo and the odor different. It's parted and the colors another kind of form and it's been separated and I could see the liquid like that the dog poo is moist and the moisture is gone and then the air is gone as well and the fire like the warmth of the dog poo has been separated as well. So it's only the dry earth. The dry earth is like the earthy soil of the world. The body, likewise, is the same. It's actually the same thing between our body and the dog poo that has been separated. So the dirty or clean, it is something that we just assume it to happen. There's no phenomena for it. Because the true phenomena is that there are all elements, water, fire, and earth. But we hold significance to particular things to be appalling, or we think that this is abhorrent, and we think that these things are particular things, but actually belong to the world. There's no owner to these elements. We think that the body is us, belong to us, but at the end of the day, it becomes belong to the world. We have to return it. For example, in the morning, when we comb our hair, the hair falling down, and that strands of hair belongs to the world again. Today that we still feel that this is the self because the elements circulate. Some of them might deteriorate, but we eat more and it becomes ourselves again. And we think that the body is something permanent, but actually the body is actually passed away all the time. It dies all the time. For example, when the strands of hair falls off, that's one part of the body that passed away, that died. But if we have the mindfulness within the body, we can see that the body is actually die all the time, constantly. There was one time that Lord Buddha asked one of his disciples, how many times could you see the death in a day? One monk said that he could see one time a day. Before going to bed, he could see the death. And Lord Buddha said that you're being too careless. And some people said 10 times, and even Pra Anand saw it hundreds of times a day. But Lord Buddha says he's still careless. Lord Buddha said that he could see the death all the time. He could see rising and fall, meaning that you see rising and falling away all the time. For example, in our body, the cells die constantly and take birth again. When we younger, there are rate of growth of the cells more than when we are older. For example, if we 180 centimeters tall, when we're growing older, it becomes less than that, like 160. When we observe our body, the body keeps on dying. The mind as well, it keeps on dying, like the story of the mind rising and falling away all the time. Even the mind itself, the consciousness, the mind, the consciousness, these are actually the same thing, which is the nature to know things, to know objects. For example, the mind that arises through six sense doors called
ใจ
consciousness or
ก็เป็นธรร
vijnana.
มชาติที่รู้
The mind is the
นาม
nature
ธร
to
รม
know
รู้
the abstract
เรีย
parts.
กอะไร
Sorry,
ธรรมารมณ์
what
ไม่
is
ใช่
it?
แค่นามธรรม
The
รู้
not just
จะรู้
abstract
รูปธรร
parts
มก็
but
ได้
mental objects.
รู้นาม
The
ธรรม
mind
ก็ได้
can
รู้นิพ
also
พานก็ได้
knows the forms and nibbana as well.
เนี่ยท่านเห็นไม่ว่า
Lord Buddha seen
ความ
have
สุขความ
seen
ทุก
that
ข์อะไรเกิดขึ้นในร่าง
no
กาย
matter what happiness and
ก็เห็นมันเกิด
happiness
ดับ
within the body, he could see that it
ความรู้
arise,
สึกนึ
they
กคิดอะไร
arise and
เกิด
fall
ขึ้น
away.
ก็เห็นมันเกิดดับ
Whatever story of the mind arising, you
งั้
could
นถ้า
see
พวก
that
เรา
they will fall away
อยากพัฒนา
eventually.
เร็วๆนะ
So if you want to make
เรา
a
คอยดู
quick
ค
progress,
วาม
that
ดับไป
we
ความ
have
เสื่อม
to
ไป
observe the
ในร่าง
uh,
กาย ดูความ
decaying
เกิด
of
ดั
the
บหมุน
body,
เวียนเปลี่ยนแปลงไป
seeing the rising and
ใน
falling
จิต
away
ใจข
of
องเรา
the mind as well.
ดูกายถ้าเราแยกละเอียด
If we
เรา
can
จะแยกเป็
separate
นธาตุ
the body further, we could
ถ้า
separate
แย
them
กอีก
into
แบบหนึ่ง
elements. And we
เรา
can
ก็
all
แยกเป็น
another way we could
อาการ
separate
32
to be
ถ้าแยกเป็นธาตุเราแยก
32
แบบปรมัตถ์เลย
characteristics. If we
เป็นธรร
separate
มะ
into
แท้ๆเลย บริ
elements,
สุทธิ์
it's like a true Dhamma.
ถ้าแยกแบบ
It's
อาการ
very pure.
32 ก็
But
ยัง
if
เจือ
we separate into 32
สมมติลงไป
characteristics,
อัน
it
นี้คือผม
still
ขน
matter
เล็บ
with
ฟันห
the
นังนะ
assumption.
แยกอย่างไร
Like
ก็
this
ได้
is
ถ้าเราแย
assume
ก
this
ธาตุ
is
ไม่เป็น
hands, assume this is nail.
คนที่
But we
อยา
can
ก
do
ได้จิต
things
เข้า
like
สู่
this.
ฌานนะต้องมีสมาธิจริง
For
ๆ
those who
ถึงจะ
can
ได้
truly separate the
ถ้า
element,
จิต
you
มี
have
กำลัง
to
ไม่พ
have
อ
the
แยก
good
ธาตุไม่ได้
samadhi.
กายเป็
Without
น
the
น้ำ
strength
เป็น
of
ลม
the
แยกไม่ออก
mind, you cannot
เรา
separate
ก็
the
แยกร่างกาย
elements.
ไปอีกแบบหนึ่ง
You can
เรียกแยกแบบพระสู
instead
ตร
you can separate
ถ้าแยกแบบเป็นธาตุก็แยกแบบอภิ
according
ธรรม
to the sutra.
แยกแบบพระสูตรก็ได้นะ
You can do that.
สมัยพุทธกาลเขาก็ส่วนใหญ่เขาก็แย
In
กอย่างพระสูตรนั่นแหละ
Buddha's era,
พิจารณาผม
monk
ขนเล็บฟันหนัง
people
ไป
that separate according to the
พิ
sutra,
จารณา
like
ไปทีละ
contemplate
ส่วน
on the nails, body parts,
ผมมัน
in
เคยออก
contemplate
มา
on
เป็น
each
ตัวเรา
body
ไหม
parts, like the hair. You
มัน
keep
ไม่
on
เคยบอกเลย
contemplate
ว่ามัน
whether
เป็นตัว
it
เรา
tells you that it's us.
แล้วมัน
It
เที่
never
ยงไหม
tells
มั
us
นไม่เที่ยง
that it's us, and it's
มัน
not
เคยสั้น
permanent
แล้วมั
as
นก็
well.
ยาวยาว
It
แล้ว
used
มัน
to
ก็
be
หลุดออก
short
ไป
and long, long and fall
มันเค
off.
ยสีดำมันก็เปลี่ยนเป็นสี
It
ขาว
used to be
มี
black
แต่
and
ความไม่
then
เที่ยง
gray.
เกิดแล้ว
It's
ก็ดับ
full of
ไปเกิดแล้ว
impermanence,
ก็ดับไป
rising and
เรื่อย
falling away constantly.
ๆเส้นใหม่ก็งอกขึ้นมา
The new set of
แบบ
hair
เด็กๆก็งอกขึ้น
grown
มา
up,
อายุเยอะ
like
ผม
the
ร่วงมากก
the
ว่าผม
young.
ที่งอกใหม่เมื่อผมไม่บางล
There's
ง
a lot
บาง
of
ลง
hairs, but once you're
ผ
growing
ม
up,
ไม่ใช่ตัวเราไม่ใช่
the
ของเรา
hair become receding. The
ขน
hair is not
อย่าง
us.
ขนคิ้วขนตาอะไร
All the hairs,
ดู
body
ไป
hairs,
ลอง
like
สัมผัสข
the
นคิ้ว
brow.
ดูบางคนก็ไปถอน ซะหมดเลย
Some people
ก็ไปเขียนคิ้วปลอมขึ้น
plucked
มา
out the
ถ้ายังไม่ทำก็อย่าไป
eyebrows,
ทำนะ
but you
คือเกิด
shouldn't
มา
do
นั้น
that
พวกผู้หญิง
because if
ชอบไป
one
ทำ
thing
คิ้ว
is
ปล
like
อม
women is like to do the
เพราะ
fake
ว่าเราอยากบ
eyebrows,
วชนะจะตลก
and
มากเลย
if they want to
หลวงพ่อเคยเจอใน
uh,
แม่ชีเลย
ordain as
ส
a
วยทั้ง
monk,
ปีเลย
as a nun,
เป็นอะไร
and it's gonna be
หน้า
a
ตา
little
แปล
bit
ก
funny.
ๆหน้าตาแปลกๆเพราะเราไม่คุ้น
Your faces will be
ถ้า
a
เป็น
little bit
พระ
bizarre.
พม่าชีพม่าเขามีคิ้วนะ
Like
เพื่
the
อไม่
nuns
ให้
in
ไม่ได้
the
กำหนด
Burma,
ให้โกน
they
คิ้ว
have eyebrows
เมือง
because
ไทย
in
เราไม่
the
โกนกันเอง
sutra they never determine people
เหมือน
to
คน
shave
คิ้
their
ว
eyebrows.
ค
It
นหน้า
only
แข้ง
happens in
ไม่ใช่
Thailand.
มีคนหน้าแข้งคนหน้าแข้ง
Like
ไม่เห็นจะบอกว่าเป็นเราเลย
the
เราก็ร่วงไป
hairs
อะไร
in
ไป
our legs,
ไม่ใช่
like
ตัว
men
เราไม่ใช่
have
ของเรา
these hairs. When they fall
เล็บ
off, it
ก็
never
เหมือน
tell us that it's us.
เล็บมือ
The
ตัด
nails,
กันทุกอาทิตย์เลย
hand nails,
เล็บเท้าก็อาจจะ2 อาทิตย์
fingernails,
ครั้งที
we
มันงอกช้า
have
กว่า
to
เล็บ
cut it off, have to trim them like a
เล็บมัน
week,
อยู่กับตัวเราแล้ว
every
เป็น
week,
ตัวเรา
and
พอตั
we
ด
think that these nails are
ไม่มี
us.
ใครรู้สึกว่าเป็นเราแล้ว
But once it's been
ที่
trimmed
เรา
and
รู้
cut
สึกเป็น
off,
เราเพราะมันมา
we
ร
no
วมกลุ่
longer
ม
feel
กัน
that
อยู่
it is us. We
รว
only
มกลุ่
feel
ม
that
เป็น
it
ก
is
ลุ่ม
us
เป็นก้อน
because
อัน
it's
เดียวกัน
unites to be
ถ้า
one
กลุ่มก้อนนั้นแตก
entity.
ออกไปนะมันก็
If
ไม่มี
this
ความเป็นตัว
entity
เรา
has
เหลื
been
ออยู่
separated, there will be no self, there will be
นะ
no
ผม
us.
ขนเล็บฟันหนังอะไรเงี้ย
Hair, nails,
เวลาที่เราจะ
skins,
บวช
when
อุปชฌาย์ต้องสอน
monks
เก
comes
สา
to
โลมา
ordain
นะคะทันตา
and
ทะโจ
they have to be taught about contemplation of the hair, nail, skin. If it hasn't been taught, then it will be condemned. Lord Buddha said that if it hasn't been taught, it will destroy the chance of the new monk to gain the Dhamma. So these things are not something inferior. All the monks that been ordained have been taught contemplation of the body parts. And if you learn a lot about sutra and of the text, and you think that this is not good enough, you have to contemplate on the elements. But that wasn't the case of what Lord Buddha said. We can only separate ordinary like this. Like when the young monk came to ordain, and there's a lot of greed and lust. They see a woman, very beautiful woman, and when they imagine that woman to have no hairs, like they're plucking out the hairs, some of the master imagine plucking out strands of hairs, all the hairs, so that women become bald, and plucking out the nails, the teeth, the skin. Once the skin has been ripped off, then there's no beauty in it. Women, you can try imagine that when you skin off your rip off your skin, what's left is no beauty at all. That's why Lord Buddha taught new monks to contemplate on the hairs, body, nails, skins, such thing. For those who used to ordain as a monk, they realize that when the lust happens, it's really torturing. Why? Because Lord Buddha wants us to train ourselves. When the lust happens, what's going to happen? Is it going to be happiness or suffering? It really suffers. But for the lay people, whenever the lust arises, they satisfy the lust. They never seen the suffering of it. But if you can do it, when the lust happens, you can observe whether it suffers or happy. So when we can separate each body parts, and we see that there's no self or us, like separate the skin, the tendon, the bones, there's no us. Each flesh is no us. All the veins is no us. All the intestines are no us. There's one bizarre thing is within these 32, there's no bladder. It might have been incorporated into another system, like in the digestive system. So if we can keep on separating, we could see that there's no self, no us doesn't belong to us. This is when we can't separating, observing the forms. But in my experience, I have been done that. I see the mind, see a rising and falling of the mind, and up to one point, I can see that the body is suffering. There's nothing special about the body. At some point, it could be let go. You could let go of the things. During the masters' era, like Luangpu Man's lineage, most of them start off by contemplating on the body, separating the body parts on and on. It is very important. That's why all the new monks need to learn. First of all, it could suppress the lust, but once the mind becomes more expert, Whenever the mindfulness knows each part of the body, you see that there is no us. You see that the body breathing in, body breathing out, or the body moves in still, or moving in different directions. These bodies are not us, doesn't belong to us, and we can let go of the wrong view. But if you can observe the mental parts, we can separate the mental parts as well. For the body parts, we could separate into elements like water, fire, air, earth, and air. That's for the people who have the jhanas. The other group of people can separate through the 32 characteristics, like the body, the hair, the nails, the skin, these things. We see that these are not us. It's a mass of parts. This is another way we can separate the aggregates, the body parts. You can attain the Dhamma through this method as well. Likewise, when we try to separate the mental parts, there are 4 parts as well. Like the first one is feelings, which are happiness and happiness, neither happiness nor unhappiness. The second one is the perceptions, and perception is one thing, and like when you have perception, you can memorize your wife's name, or what this road leads to where, what's the name of the road. These are the perception. There are other symbols, for example, which is interpretations. This is perception. Perceive the things like taste, the sense, like cats and dogs can remember its owners. It doesn't need to look at our face to recognize us. It could recognize even the footstep or the smell of yours. That's the perception. The other one is interpretation. There's right interpretation and wrong interpretation. The wrong interpretation is when we interpret the foul things to be beautiful things. For example, we interpret the body as beautiful things, but once we separate them, it's not beautiful anymore. It becomes foul and smelly. It's no good. But we have wrong interpretation it to be beautiful, and we interpret the impermanent things as permanent things. All of us are careless because we never thought that we wouldn't live another day. We will. If you think that you will die today, but like the building will be collapsed because of the missiles of the wrong target. The missiles targeted at us, or there are other like airplane, the small airplane crashed down here, we will die at this hour. Has anyone thinks that you'll die in this hour? Nobody, because we interpret the wrong things as impermanent thing as permanent things. And likewise, the mind, we think that is permanent. We think that the last year mind and today's mind is the same mind. We think that today's mind and the next year mind is the same mind. Then next life mind and today life mind is the same mind. But actually the minds arising and falling away is impermanent. But we have the wrong interpretation that there's a consistent or a self. But we have cultivated the vipassana practice. We could see that the mind arising and falling away all the time, and it's impermanent. But most people would see that the mind is permanent. We think that the unhappy things to be happy things. We think that the thing is not us becomes us. So to summarize, there are two things: perception, interpretation. The perception and right and wrong interpretation. Like the worldly people, we think that interpret the impermanence as permanent things. We think we interpret the things that is not us to become us, and we can separate the other aggregates like fabrication. The third one is fabrications to become fabricate to be good or not good, or evil. Sometimes it's fabricate good things like once you listen to Dhamma. Once you listen to the Dhamma and you think that you don't understand it at all and you become irritated, or you listen to the Dhamma and after a while you think that you forgot to turn off the light at home, so you become irritated, you become uncomfortable, and you become nervous. That's how it's portrayed the changes. Happiness are impermanent. Wholesome and unwholesomeness are impermanent. We keep on observing them, we can see that these are all full of impermanence. Whether it's good or bad, we cannot command it to happen. For example, if you make contact with satisfying things, it makes you happy. You make contact with unsatisfying things, it makes you unhappy. If you cannot command it to be happy all the time or unhappy to go away, it's non-self. We cannot command it to happen. We cannot command the mind to become wholesome all the time, or not to be greedy at all. For example, you go into department stores because of the hot weather. You want to go in the aircon room so that you save the cost of aircon at your house. You don't want to buy anything, but after a while, you just carrying all the shopping bags with you because the greed takes over your mind. We cannot command the mind to become less greedy or not deluded. If we cannot command it, how could we counterweight the wisdom? When you become angry, no so, greedy, no so, not greedy, no so, deluded, drift away, no so, not drift away, no so. Keep on knowing these things, and we could see that greed, aversion, delusions are impermanent. Non-greed, non-lust are impermanent. Non-aversion are impermanent. Non-delusion are impermanent. You don't want to love that particular person, and then you love them. You don't want to be angry at a particular person, but you're still angry at them. We keep on separate things like this. We separate the abstract parts like happy and happy feelings are not us. The perception is not us, doesn't belong to us. Sometimes you can remember it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you'll have right interpretation, sometimes have you wrong interpretation. Even the mind itself, sometimes it gives rise to happiness and happiness, wholesome and wholesomeness. You have to be aware of them. Once the mind becomes wholesome, no so, becomes unwholesome, no so, keep on observing, keep on knowing these things, and at some point, the wisdom could see that all the things that comes to make contact with the mind is impermanent suffering and non-self. We start off by observing the body as impermanent suffering and non-self. Once we switch into observing the mental parts like perception, fabrications are impermanent suffering and non-self, there is only one thing left, which is the mind. The mind is impermanent, but it arises and falls away all the time. It arises and falls away to where? It arises and falls away through six senses: the eyes, ears, the body, the mind. Once we open our eyes in the morning, after get off the bed, we can see we see things, but we don't know what it is. there's no perceptions. Once the lights make contact with your eyes, and when you see the people walking by, the mind thinks of other things. You couldn't see that person, you couldn't see them, because your mind thinks of other things. This is when you see that the mind doesn't arise. If the mind didn't arise at the eyes, then you can see the pictures. If the mind doesn't arise through the ears, even there's a voice, you can hear them. For example, you listen to YouTube music, but your YouTube music and your have absent-minded. You like this particular singer, and you think that, oh, that singer is I used to listen to with my girlfriend or boyfriend, with your partner, but you think of the story of the mind, but you didn't hear the lyrics of the song at all. The mind arises in the world of thoughts. It doesn't listen. It doesn't hear the song at all. Once the mind is absent, and you don't see the picture in front, even in front of your own eyes. Like you're going to different places and you could smell something bizarre. For example, going to the rubbish pile, you can smell the rubbish. But if your house next to the rubbish pile, but you won't be able to recognize the rubbish smell, because the nose never the mind never pay attention to that rubbish pile. So when the consciousness can work, so the contact making is like the eyes, ears, the eyes and the forms. The forms is the I see, and there's mind arising together. These three factors give rise to the contact makings through the eyes. We keep on observing. The mind arises in the following way through six senses all the time. There was one time, like 20 years ago, I guess like 40 years ago, I could see that abstract parts arising the following way through the middle of my chest, and I was wondering, should I observe the middle of my chest? Because the mind stays there. And I asked Luangpu Dun that, where is the mind located? I have my own answers that the mind stay at the base of the middle of my chest. But Luangpu Dun said that the mind has no place to sit. There's no place to sit for the mind. The place has no place to stay. It's very subtle, different levels of subtleness. Like the first level is that the mind has the place to stay. Whenever it make contact with the object, it falls away. There's no only one single mind. The mind arises through the eyes and it falls away, ears and falls away. The story of the mind and falls away. Whenever the mind arises, it falls away right in that place. It isn't like the mind running around, like running towards the eyes and come back, running through the story of the mind and comes back. That wasn't the case. The mind is the perception. Whenever there are objects, the mind perceives that object at that particular space, and it falls away and perceive another object through different doors. But for the higher level, the mind has no place to sit. It never rooted anywhere. Each person has the mind that rooted in different objects like forms, mental parts, story of the mind. The mind rooted in those, sending out to those things all the time. But for the noble ones, the mind never rooted in anywhere, and there's no chance for them to fertile again. Because at the time of fertilization, the mind will root it in the forms and the mental part. That's why the teachings of Luangpu Dun has different layers of subtleness. Each things that he said, if you have one understanding, and you have a particular level of understanding, but once you keep on practicing and you understand differently, it's a different thing. So while listening to the Dhamma, to understand them, it takes time, it takes practice. We have to take action to observe the real things, and it takes time to see that the mind has no place to sit, because the mind isn't rooted anywhere. But for each and every one of us, the mind rooted in the good things, and it resides in the good realms, and rooted in the bad things, it resides in the bad realms. But how could to root in the good realms is better by maintaining the 5 precepts and giving jhanas. We can become astral beings. But if you want to go to higher realms, you can do the jhana, so samadhi, you become a Brahma deity. Beyond that, we have to do vipassana practice, and we become ultra-mundane. We don't have to take births and rebirths in this world anymore. So there are different levels, layers of the Dhamma. Even one single sentence can be interpreted differently by different group of people. There's one this morning that used to study with me for a long period of time before my ordination, and they set me homework, and they've been learning for many years, like 30 years, and they start to realize that when I taught about not drift away, not overfocusing, it's very difficult to comprehend. It takes 30 years to understand the right kind of mind. The right kind of mind that can cultivate wisdom is the mind that is not overfocusing and drifting away. The mind that drifting away is the mind that wandering away, that becomes scattered. The mind that overfocusing has the samadhi, but it's different kind of samadhi. It's still samadhi. It doesn't cultivate wisdom. The minds that not drift away and not overfocusing can truly cultivate wisdom. Back then, I talked about not overfocusing and not drifting away. Those people laughed at me because I never talked about chanting Buddha and contemplating on the body. Because most people chanting Buddha wrongly, they overfocusing on the Buddha. The mind drift away to the Buddha. The mind never becomes the knower, awakened, and blissful one. Once you meditate on an object, when you drift away no so, overfocusing no so, the mind will become stable, upright, neutral, and that we can use that kind of mind to cultivate wisdom. And how can we cultivate wisdom? We don't have to do anything. Once the mind becomes stable and upright, then it can separate the aggregates on its own automatically, because we used to listen to these kind of topics. We are disciple. We have to listen to the Lord Buddha's teaching. If you can achieve this on your own, then you become Pajjeka Buddha Chao, the solo Buddha. But we don't have that spiritual faculties. We become disciple. Once we listen to the story separating their aggregates, then we keep on practicing, then we can walk the right path. When I practiced, nobody taught me to separate the aggregate, but I chanting. In the morning chanting, it talked about the 5 aggregates. There are forms. The forms is the aggregate is the place for the form to sit, and the clinging aggregates are the feelings as well. There are 5 aggregates in total. When I ordained in Chonpatan temple, I reciting like this, but I never understood. But once I studied with Luangpu Dun, once my mind becomes stable and upright, and can see that the aggregates are separated, and can see each aggregate are not us. It is us because it combined to be one unity. one unity. Once this unity breaks apart, the self will be gone, there will be no us. That we see that the aggregates becomes together, we have wrong perception. But once this unity has gone, once this entity has gone, then there will be no self, there will be no us. Through chanting, through morning chanting, teach me like how could I what to do next, and I memorized the same mantra that the feelings and the forms, feelings, perceptions, the consciousness are not permanent, and forms, perception, mind are non-self. Once we can separate these aggregates, we can see that these aggregates are under three characteristics. These are actually incorporated into the morning chanting, but we never be able to use them because we don't have the mind that becomes stable. If the mind becomes stable, the aggregate will be separated and it will betray the three characteristics. So that's why I told you that you have to be patient. If you're lazy, you have to be patient. You have to walk meditation for 3 hours a day. If you cannot walking meditation, you can sitting, but you have to move. Do not just sitting in drowsiness. You see the body moving. Keep on it. We prioritize the self-awareness. But if you still have energy, you can do walking meditation. A lot of people said that they have determined to walking meditation for 3 hours, but the work, the quality of the work has lowered. But once the mind gain more strength, then you have a lot of doing samadhi and become self-aware more and more, about at least 3 hours a day. Once the mind gain enough strength and become consistent, then they can do a better work, better quality of work. It isn't like when you do a lot of practice and the quality of the jobs would be lowered. That's not the case. I could see this by myself. When I was lay person, I have done a lot of difficult work. It's bureaucratic work, and it's very difficult job. Sometimes the superiors surrounded my table to sign this, and I have to work under the pressure. So I work very precisely and quickly. Like all the superiors can come and sign the paper right away because of my samadhi. At first, I think that to training samadhi takes time, consuming time. It's very time consuming. But once the samadhi gains strength, then all the work are easy. Like if you have difficulties in life, you don't have to think a lot. Sometimes the mind just pop up the solution. These are regarding to the samadhi. So while doing sitting, walking meditation for 3 hours a day, you have to do it. Otherwise, when you are older, you won't be able to do it. So you should use your time and energy to improve yourself, so that when you in the world you become more quality. It's about 45 minutes, according to schedule. So the first, number 1.
เบอร์ 1 ในรูปแบบขั้นต่ำ30 นาทีต่อวันและระหว่างวัน
During form meditations about 30 hours, I practice 30 minutes a day, and I can observe the mind if I can do so. But if become exhausted, I'll do samatha practice. Back then, I never real to differentiate between the samatha and vipassana practice, and I don't know the purpose of them. But now I seem to understand more.
อยู่นะใช้ได้
Not sure whether my
เช่นเรา
practice
ก็ดีขึ้นเยอะ
is still on the
โปร่ง
path.
ใส
Lamport said that
ฝึก
your
ไปเรื่อยๆนะ
practice is
พอ
still
ผ่าน
on
วั
the
นที่หนึ่
path
งเรา
and
ก็เสื่อม
your
ที่
mind
สอง
is
ก็เสื่อมต้องต
brightened,
กใจ
good.
เจริญก็
Keep
ป
on
ฏิบัติไป
practicing it.
เสื่อ
You
มก็ป
see
ฏิบั
that
ติไปไม่เลิก
sometimes it ups and downs. Once there are ups and downs, you have to keep on
เบอร์
practicing.
สอง
Number one is good. Number two,
เบอร์สองทำในรูปแบบนั่งสมาธิ
I
ทุก
doing
วัน
formal meditation,
ยัง
sitting
เพ่งๆ
meditation
อยู่
every day. I still
หลง
overgussing.
ว่าตัวเองรู้
I
แท้
thought
จริง
that
เป็
I
นเพียง
knew,
สัญญา
but
ที่ได้
actually
จากการอ่าน
it was
การ
only
ฟั
a
งธรรม
perception through the
ละ
reading
ชั่ว
and listening to the
ทำดี
Dhamma.
แต่จิต
And
ใจ
I
ไม่ผ่องใสทน
get rid
รู้
of
แต่
all the
นำ
bad
การป
things,
ฏิบัติ
but my
ไม่
mind
ทำจิตใจให้เบิ
is
กบาน
not
ด้วยกรรม
bright and blossom. Can you kindly advise?
ละชั่วทำดีแล้วเราก็เบิกบาน
When you get rid of the bad things
เบิก
and
บานมีหลายระดั
do
บ
good
นะ
things, do good
เบิ
deeds,
กบาน
then
ด้วยสมา
your
ธิ
mind
บ่อย
become blossom.
ๆที่เราหัด
It
รู้
can
สึกตัว
be
ไปเรื่อยๆ
joyful
บางทีมี
because
ความ
of
สุข
the
ผุดขึ้นมา
self-awareness,
จิตใจ
the
เบิกบาน
happiness
ผ่องใสมันขึ้นอย่างนี้นะ
resurfacing,
ที่เราเจริญปัญญาอยู่
or
เรา
keep
เข้าใจ
on cultivating
ธรร
wisdom,
มะ
and
ข้อ
then
นี้ขึ้น
you
มา
understand
ใจ
a
เรา
particular
เข้าใจ
topic
ขึ้
of
นมาก็
Dhamma,
เบิกบานขึ้นมา
you become
อัน
happy.
นั้นเบิกบานด้วยปัญญา
That's
เบิก
happiness
บาน
arises from
อย่างแรง
wisdom.
เลยเรื่องเบิกบานด้วยอริยมรรค
The
ทุกคน
strong
เขาเรียกว่าจิตหยาบ
joyfulness is actually
ไม่
the
ต้องเป็น
attainment of
พระอริ
Dhamma.
ยะนะถึงจะเป็นเราแก้ตรงที่ผิดนะ
We only
ที่
fix
ผิด
the
เพ่งอยู่
incorrect points, which is you're still overguessing. You're forcing the mind to be still. If you're forcing like that, it'll become stiff. It won't be joyful.
เบอร์หนึ่งเบอร์หนึ่งจิตหลง
Number
ไปแล้ว
one,
รู้ไหม
your mind drift away. See that?
เห็นร่างกายขยับไหม
Can you see the body
เห็น
moving?
ร่างกายพยักหน้าไหม
Can you see the body nodding?
เห็นใจที่ทื่อๆไหม
Will you see the mind still?
รู้สึกร่างกายได้ด้วยนะ
You can observe the body
ใจ
constantly.
มันยังทื่อๆอยู่ไปบังคับให้มัน
The mind still still.
ไปบังคับมันปล่อยที่ฝึกมา
Just
ดี
let
ขึ้น
go.
เรื่อยๆ
Do
นะ
not force it.
ค่อยๆฝึกไป
You make progress.
อย่าน้อมใจ
Keep
อย่า
on
งนั้น
practicing.
เบอร์หนึ่ง
Do not incline the mind like
น้อ
that.
มใจอย่างนั้นจะเกิดโมหะ
If you incline the mind like that, it will give rise to the illusion.
รู้สึกตัว
Your mind will become
ลืมตา
deluded.
ขึ้นมา
Become
รูปตา
self-aware and
มอง
open
รู
your
ปหน้า
eyes.
สิ
Use your palm
หน้ามันเห็นมันบอกเลยว่ามันเป็นตัวเรา
to touch your face. Do not
เบอร์สอง
the face doesn't tell that
จิต
it's
ตรงนี้
us.
ดีกว่าแต่กี้รู้สึก
Number
ไหม
two, your mind now is better than
จิตอย่างนี้
previously.
ถึงใช้ได้นะ
The mind
จิต
now
ที่
is
แข็ง
good.
ทื่อๆ
It's
ไม่เดิน
useful.
ปัญญาหรอก
If the mind is stiff, it cannot
จิต
cultivate
ตรงนี้
wisdom.
ขยับขึ้นไปแล้วไปนิ่งๆอยู่
The
รู้สึก
mind
ไหม
level up to be still, like
อึ๊บขึ้นมาแล้วก็
can you see that? It's like
ไม่ค้าง
and become stuck in that
กลับมาอยู่ที่ตัวเอง
layer. Come back to your own, to
ไม่ต้อง
yourself.
พยายามเยอะนะ
Do not make a lot of
ขยับ
attempts.
ออกไปก็รู้จิต
Just
ทำ
when
อะไร
the
ก็
mind
รู้
moves away,
นะ
you know so.
ดีนะ
Whatever
เบอ
the
ร์สอง
mind do, whatever the mind does, do know so.
อย่า
Number
ไป
two
บัง
is
คับ
good.
มัน
Just
รู้
do
ทัน
not
มัน
overguessing it. Know
เบอ
it.
ร์สาม
Number three,
เบอร์สามปฏิบัติในรูปแบบทุกวัน
I practice
เดิน
in
จงกรม
daily life formal
ตอน
meditation
นั่ง
every
สมา
day
ธิแล้ว
by
มัน
walking
จะหลับ
meditation.
ชี
Because
วิต
while
ประ
sitting
จำวันใช้
meditation,
การ
I
รู้สึก
become
กาย
drowsy
เคลื่อน
very
ไหว
easily.
แต่ก็
In
หลับ
daily
บ่อ
life,
ย
I try to
ส
observe the
ลับ
body
กับจง
moving,
ใจ
but drift
รู้
away very
จ
often
นเพ่ง
and
แล้ว
have a
รู้
lot
สึ
of
กแน่น
intention as well
อืม
to
รู้ว่า
become
เพ่ง
stiff.
ก็ไม่
In
หาย
stiff.
ที่
One
ป
is
ฏิบัติ
become
มา
stiff, I
ตาม
know
อัฏ
so,
ฐะ
but it can
ถูก
gone.
นะ
It wouldn't be gone.
เวลาหลงรู้ว่าหล
You
งจะ
practice
หายหลงเลย
correctly. Once you
เว
drifting
ลา
away,
เพ่ง
you
รู้
know
ว่าเพ่งไม่
know
หา
so
ย
and it's gone. But
ถ้า
when you
ดู
become
สิ่งที่อยู่
overguessing and
ว่า
you
มัน
know
คือการ
so,
เพ่ง
it just not disappear.
คือตัณหา
You
ความ
have
โล
to
ภ
see
อยากป
what's
ฏิบัติมาก
behind
อยากรู้
the
อยากเห็น
overguessing,
อยาก
which
เป็น
is
อ
the
ยากได้
greed
อ
or
ยาก
the
มีอะไร
craving.
อย่างเงี้ย
We crave for
ไม่ได้
good,
ไป
to
เพ่งมัน
craving for resistance.
ถ้ารู้ที่
And
ตัณ
then
หาได้รู้ที่
that's
ต้น
when
ตอ
you
ได้นะละ
become
ที่ต้นตอ
overguessing.
มา
If
จาก
you
ตัณหา
know the
เนี่ย
rooted cause of
เฮ้ย
it,
มันอยา
you
ก
can
อยากรู้
disregard the
ทำเร็
cause
ว
You want to, for example, you want to liberate as soon as possible. You want to be mindful all the time. Know the craving. Once the craving's gone, then the orgasm gone. All the stiffness will be gone as well. So you have to get rid of the cause of it. Good. Good, actually. Please keep on practicing right now. It's good. Now it's not good. The mind drift away. Just know like this. Good. Number one, you're overcasting. You still overcast to be still. You can contemplate on the body, number one. You contemplate each part of the body. Nails, skin, it's not us, doesn't belong to us. Keep on contemplating. Number four. And do chanting mantra. And every day the mind becomes scattered all the time. I try to become self-aware. I kind of fight and being persistent and patient. I want to get out of this sickness and things a lot of bad things. During some meditations, I like to overcast myself. If I let go, I will be drift away for a long period of time. I don't know how to become self-aware. I try to knows the breath, and my strength is not enough. I want to be good all the time. You see, train me how to become self-aware. When Paul said that what you practice is good, actually, now you are different from the past. From previously, your mind has changed. So your duty is to keep on practicing, to see that it's sometimes there are ups and downs. You see that you see this correctly because everything arises and falls away. Nothing's no ups. There's nothing, just ups and downs, not downs. So you keep on knowing till you see that the good minds actually rise and falls away. This got the same to the bad minds. We can see that all kinds of mind are not us, doesn't belong to us. But if you keep on practicing and see that you're making progress on and on, then you feel that the mind is the self. So when you're practicing, it will be ups and downs like that. It's correct. But it's not like when you're become diligent, it becomes ups, and you're lazy and become downs. It's not like that. The Dhamma will teach you that everything arises and falls away. The mind is off the base now. You see that? The mind is outside. Just trying to think of the body. Just think a little bit. Do not think too harshly, otherwise you'll be deep down inside. The mind drift away inside. Can you see that? If the mind flows towards inside, then know so. Get out of it and sending out know so as well. If the mind stuck outside, we cannot cultivate wisdom. Good at this level, but do not try to maintain it. The mind will be within, it's not too deep. The mind drift away to think, know so. When you're sending mind out to see, know so. Keep on practicing. You practice good. Number 5. I do chanting and sitting meditation. During the day, I try to know the phenomena and see the decaying or from time to time. Once the mindfulness arises, the defilement's gone. Once the stimulants, the defilements has resurfacing again. Sometimes dilute in the world and give in the defilements. Sometimes you see the craving and I don't satisfy the just satisfy the craving, become suffer. What you practice is good, but you have to be patient. All the craving arises cause you suffering. Once you satisfy or defy
หลวงพ่อเค
the
ยสอน
defilements is
นาน
caused
นะ
to suffering
บอก
as
ว่า
well. I've been teaching for a long
เรือ
period of
ใหญ่ๆ
time
นะมันท
that
อดสมอ
when
นะ
you're going
ใน
to
ทะเล
the big ships and it
เรือไม่ข
anchors,
วางคลื่นนะแต่ก็ไม่ไหลตามคลื่น
the ship doesn't
จิตเรา
defy
ไม่
the
ไหลตาม
waves
กิ
and
เลสด้วย
doesn't
ไม่ต่อ
flow
ต้านกิเลสด้วย
along the waves as well.
รู้
Likewise,
ด้วยใจ
the
ที่เป็น
mind
กลาง
doesn't
ไปเรื่อย
defy the defilements and doesn't satisfy defilement as well. Just know the defilements as it is.
ๆอย่าปล่อยให้จิตมันซึมลงไปแบบนั้น
Do not let the mind become drowsy
รู้สึก
like
ตัว
that.
เพิ่มขึ้นมานะอย่าให้มันซึม
Try to become self-aware more. Do not let it drowsy, sinking down like that.
ทำบ่อยๆนะทำไปเรื่อย
Keep on practicing on and on.
ๆจิตเราตามกิเลส
And
เรา
then
ก็รู้จิตเรา
if the
ตาม
mind
กิเลสเราก็
follow
รู้
defilements,
จิตเราเป็นกลาง
satisfy
ต่อกิเลส
defilements
เรา
or
ก็รู้
defy the defilements or become neutral towards the defilements, know so. Number 6,
เบอร์หกปฏิบัติในรูปแบบ
I practice in the form of meditations
ภาวนา
by
พุทโธครั้งละ30
chanting
ถึง
Buddha
40
about
นาที
30 minutes or 40
ยัง
minutes
จุ
a
ดเพ่
day.
ง
I
ดู
still
กาย
stuck
สลับ
in
กับดูจิต
the
เห็นกิเล
overgussing
สเกิด
and
ได้ไวขึ้น
observing the mind
ฟุ้งซ่านบ้าง
and
สงบบ้าง
the body
รู้
together.
บ้างหลงบ้าง
Sometimes I know,
เจริญ
sometimes I
บ้าง
drift away,
เสื่อมบ้าง
sometimes it's ups and
คิด
downs.
ว่าแยกขันธ์ได้บ้าง
I think
แล้ว
I can separate the
เห็นจิตและ
aggregates,
กายแยกกันชัด
but
เจนชั่วขณะ
I could
จิต
see
แล้วก็กลับ
the body
ไม่
and the
ชัดเจน
mind
อีกจะพยายาม
separated
ปฏิบัติให้
very
มากขึ้น
crystal clear
ที่ปฏิบั
at
ติ
some
มา
point,
ถูก
and
ทาง
at
แล้ว
another point I couldn't
ถู
see
กแล้ว
that.
ละนะทำอีก
The Paul said it's correct.
เบอร์เจ็ด
Keep on practicing. Number 7.
เบอร์เจ็ดอยากดูจิตแต่รู้สึกดูไม่เป็น
I want to observe the mind, but I couldn't do
เลย
it.
เลือกกาย
I don't have
เป็น
enough mindfulness, so I
เวลา
use the
ปฏิ
body
บัติใน
instead.
รูปแบบ
I increase the amount of time during form meditation, and I see the body and the mind different thing. I see the mind awaken first, and the mind drift away to the well of thoughts, and the mind wavers.
ยังหลงบ่
The
อย
diversion
ไม่
arises,
แน่
but
ใจ
I
ว่า
drift
คิด
away
เอ
very
งหรือ
often.
เห็นจริงครับ
I'm not sure whether I
เห็น
can
นะ
see it
คือ
on
ตัว
myself
กิเล
or
ส
I just
เรา
imagine it.
ต้องรู้ทันนะ
The Lord said that you can see
ตัว
it,
ทิฏฐิ
but you
มา
have to
นะ
be aware of
เรา
the
แวบ
defilements as well. For example, the
ตัวเนี้ย
conceitedness.
ที่จะทำให้เรา
This is very strong. It will give you a lot of
กิเลสอะไรเกิดเรา
problems,
รู้ทันไปเรื่อย
troubles. So whatever defilements arises,
ๆ
know
เบอร์
so.
แปด
Number 8.
เบอร์แปดสวดมนต์ทำสมาธิ
I chanting
1
and
ชั่วโมง
do
ทุกวัน
meditation about
บาง
hour
วั
a
น
day.
เพิ่มการเดิน
Sometimes
30
I
ถึง 60 นาที
increase the
ดู
amount
กา
of
ยหาย
time
ใจเข้าอ
walking
อก
meditation about
จิต
30 minutes,
รวม
60 minutes a day. I
ดูกาย
see
ไม่ใช่
the
เรา
body breathing in
บา
and
งครั้ง
out,
จิต
breathing
ลง
out.
ภวัง
See the body
แล้
is
ว
not
ดีขึ้น
myself.
มาเป็นช่วง
Sometimes the mind
ระหว่าง
becomes
วั
in
น
a sleeping
รู้สึ
state
ก
and
กายเนืองเนือง
spring up,
เห็นสิ่งที่ไม่
and
ชอบ
I
เป็นกระแส
see the
บางอ
body
ย่างขยับ
during
อยู่
the
กลาง
day.
อก
อืม
Sometimes
เห็นแล้ว
there's
สิ่
this
งนั้นก็
light
ขาด
like
สะบั้น
waves
จิตเบิก
wavering
บา
bit
นสว่าง
in my
ขอข้อ
chest.
แนะ
When I
นำ
see it disappear, the mind becomes bright. Suppose
ภาวนาดีนะ
your practice is good.
ทำเรื่อยๆไปเดี๋ยววันหนึ่ง
Keep on
จะ
practicing
เห็นนะ
till
จริง
one
ๆแล้ว
day
จิ
you
ต
can
ไม่ใช่
see
เรา
that actually the mind is not a self. It's not a self.
ต
It's
อน
not
นี้มันยั
us.
งเป็นเราบ้างไม่เป็นเราบ้าง
Sometimes now it's sometimes us,
ทำอีก
sometimes it's not
ทำมา
us.
ถูกต้องแล้ว
Keep on practicing. You're walking the right path.
เบอร์หนึ่งไปแก้เรื่องการติดเพ่งนะ
Number one,
ให้
you have
ทำ
to
กาย
fix
ไว้
about overgussing
ให้จิต
by
มันทำงาน
contemplating on the
ไม่
body.
เฉ
Let
ย
the mind work. So it's not still like that.
ๆวันนี้เท่านี้นะ
So that should be enough for today.